Welcome to your high school sports. I'm Roddy Woods for the Zone. Tonight, we've got Jake Nichols with us, and he is going to come in and he's going to talk a little bit about football in the Southeast and also preview his game for tomorrow night. So, Jake, let's talk a little bit about what's going on with you.
Well, Roddy, with my work for SI, just getting involved with Tennessee Fall Camp right now. Everything's heating up. We are less than 2 weeks from the start of the Josh Heupel era in Neyland Stadium, so that's going to be really exciting. But right now, man, it is all high school football. South Doyle and Oak Ridge getting started tonight out at Blankenship Field in Oak Ridge. And actually, Oak Ridge, I think right now, just took a touchdown lead over South Doyle. So that's a really interesting one. But yeah, tomorrow night we've got a great one, Northview Academy and Unicoi County in our first your high school sports game of the week for the 2021 season. And, you know, talking to both of these coaches this week, they are just so excited for the sense of normalcy that's back in high school football after last year, after not having as many fans, after all the protocols and everything, that hopefully we can get back to that normalcy this season and get back to the passion that the fans bring, that the teams feed off of. And we're excited to see that in action again tomorrow night. Northview coming in year 3 under Heath Woods, and Unicoi County coming in year 6 under Drew Rice. A couple of relatively new quarterbacks on the scene. You've got Alex Cruz Mendoza for Northview, who took a few snaps last year behind Johnny Webster, but was more of an athlete for the Cougars. This year, he's behind center. It's his first year as starter. And then Bryson Peterson last year for Unicoi County, 3-1 as a starter. Played 4 games, obviously, for the Blue Devils last year, but this year it will be his first full year as a starter. So you've got a couple quarterbacks that may need to shake off a few cobwebs under the lights and, you know, really try to take the reins of their team. So that should be really interesting to watch tomorrow night, and a lot of other exciting things coming. So, you know, it'll be really fun. And obviously you can join us for that on Facebook Live for the Your High School Sports Game of the Week. And then we'll be checking in here on the Zone throughout the night. But I will be joined by Brandon Martin, my good friend, who will be working alongside me a lot this season, and we will be in the booth for you from Northview Academy. So a lot of excitement coming, and I know we are really, really pumped for tomorrow night and to finally get some football.
Definitely. You know, it's time. It's football time here in East Tennessee, and some of the games, I know you're following the game, what's going on right now. That's South Doyle versus Oak Ridge. What is that score of that game?
Yeah, I believe last I checked, it's 20-14 Oak Ridge, but the Wildcats are also without star running back Kendall Jackson, who has several SEC offers. He's talked to Tennessee. He's got several schools looking at him, and I got a chance to talk to him last season when he was hurt. Seems like he's banged up again starting tonight or out for some reason. Not entirely sure there. But yeah, a really interesting game out there in Oak Ridge. Like I mentioned, I think the Wildcats are still up by a TD, but Sean Gary for South Doyle, he's committed to I can't remember to save my life.
He was the one we met at Media Days, correct?
Yeah, but I apologize. I cannot remember his commitment at the moment. But anyway, he is just a spectacular athlete, and he is just really, really fun to watch. He's bouncing off tacklers right now, so he's a really dangerous aspect of South Doyle's offense. And if the Wildcats aren't careful, then I think that Gary could take over late in this one.
Definitely. Hey, Jake, let's talk a little bit about, you know, football. You know, I know you do a lot around the Southeast. You cover UT for Sports Illustrated. You are play-by-play guy for your high school sports game of the week. You know, how exciting is it for the fans? Let's look at the fans' perspective. Last year, they really didn't get to be a part of the games like they usually are. this year we're going to start out. I was reading an article today. We're going to start out with full stadiums. They're going to try it. But what do you think, and how excited do you think the fans are to get back to regular football?
I think that there are, no words to describe the excitement of it. That, when you talk about, like I said, the passion of it, and, you look at that South Doyle and Oak Ridge tonight, how both sides have a full student section, how we expect that tomorrow night at Northview, how in a couple weeks we expect a full Neyland Stadium with fireworks going off for Josh Heupel's first game. You can't reiterate enough the passion and the impact of having a full stadium again. And just, even on television, when you can hear that sweet sound of a crowd roaring, and just so good to have that back, and to think we have that chance again after the just desolation across stadiums across the Southeast last year.
Yes.
When you think about college and pro and high school stadiums, and just how silent they were in comparison to what we're used to, just having that richness back, it's such a vital part of fall in the South and across the nation, really, when you consider how important football is. And so I know we're just so excited to have that back at all levels.
Let's switch gears here a little bit. Let's talk about the zone that I will be hosting. It's something new that your high school sports is doing this year.
Yep.
We will be covering teams from pretty much the Southeast. We've got correspondent up in our Tri-Cities area. We've got Brandon Martin, who'll be in the booth with you tomorrow night. He'll be covering the Nashville market in Middle Tennessee, as well as covering some recruiting. Some guys that are looking to go on to the next level, as you say. We'll have Jeremiah Patterson. He'll be down in the Knoxville area, where I feel some of the best high school football can be played this year. At media days, we saw pretty much everybody. And the one team that stood out to me, just in statue alone, was Knox West. The Rebels look like they are ready to be number one through the whole season and make it into the playoffs. But that classification is going to be one of the toughest. If you make it out of the Knoxville market, this region, you'll probably win the state. What do you say?
Yeah, I would say so. But, you can't West is going to be good, but you can't count out Powell and the way that the Panthers have built this team. You've got a guy like Jordan Potts, who's got offers from, a few smaller schools like Coastal Carolina and a few of those, but who last year made a Sports Center, I think, top play, that whenever he twisted out of a tackle against Anderson County and almost threw a blind pass for a touchdown against the Mavericks in one of the Panthers' first games last year. And he was a Mr. Football semifinalist. And so this year, talking to him through this offseason, he's talked about wanting to show that wasn't a fluke. And so you've got him as a quarterback that's got a lot of experience, a good arm, a lot of maturity. But then you've also got a guy for the Panthers in a Darius Redmond that's fielded several Power 5 offers, that's talked to Tennessee quite a bit, that he and fellow Powell wide receiver Aiden Green, who also has an offer from Tennessee, have both camped with the Vols and both have several very high offers, and are both really, really sought after prospects that obviously with Potts, with Green, and with Darius Redmond, that those three make Powell's offense dangerous. But then you factor in the fact that they just got the nation's number one recruit for the 2022 class in Walter Nolan, who came to Powell from St. Benedict at Auburndale and Memphis. And by way of, I think, a brief stop at IMG Academy. But there is no overstating how powerful the Panthers could be this year, that even without Nolan, that they were already possibly knocking on the door of being able to reach Cookeville for the first time in program history this year. But with Nolan, the rest of the teams in that region and just throughout the Knoxville area had better watch out, because right now I think the Panthers are by far the team to beat.
Definitely. So somewhat Jake is talking about, fans, we're talking about something that he and Brandon Martin are going to bring to your high school sports the zone this year. They're going to be talking about recruits. They're going to be talking about players that could come to UT or players that would go to another college, somewhere like ETSU, somewhere like a Tennessee Tech, or even somewhere down in Georgia or Florida. We're going to cover pretty much the Southeast this year, and then we'll have Mikey Hines. Mikey is going to be working the Tri-Cities area. Mikey will be covering Elizabeth and Chris, our production managers school. We'll be covering Science Hill. We'll be covering Dobbins Bennett. And you cannot leave out Greenville up there. That's another 4A school, Jake. Greenville, and you got defending state champion Elizabethton.
Yep.
So that's what I said. The 4A classification is going to be the class this year. I see some teams moved up and tried to get away from the 4A class, move up to 5A. But man, I got my picks and we'll do that later on. But just to let you know, folks, the zone is going to be coming on tomorrow night. We'll be on about 7:15, and we'll take you around and preview some games and show you some action from some of the big games up in the Tri-Cities, in Knoxville. And when Brandon's not in the booth with Jake, he'll be out covering the Nashville and the Middle Tennessee schools, because many of those schools in Nashville and Middle Tennessee will be playing some of these teams from East Tennessee in Cookeville, as you say, Jake. So
I take that back. Actually, I said Cookeville, but technically, I think they've moved it to Chattanooga for the state championship game.
Oh, that's right, because
that's my mistake.
It's on the move again. I think that's now my opinion. I think that's what it should be. It should move around from place to place. One year it should be in the West Tennessee, because the fans sometimes don't want to drive all the way.
Yeah, and you have to think about the the frequency with which different teams from the different regions in the state make it too.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, you have to think about which teams, from where most often make the trip to the state championship.
So, hey, Jake, let's talk tomorrow night. You guys come on at 7 for your pregame show.
Yep. You'll
be out there. It's so beautiful out there at Northview. We were out there the other day doing some testing. It is a beautiful stadium, a beautiful place to watch a football game.
It is, and you can see the mountains in the distance, and obviously we'll have all that on display. It's kind of set right in there, I think nestled against a hillside for Northview's field, and so obviously the dark green of kind of the trees that surround that should go nicely with the uniform. But more than that, I think it'll be a fantastic football game, and I know Drew Rice is going to bring a whole bunch of very motivated Blue Devils in there to Kodak. So we should have a very interesting game to kick this thing off.
All right. Well, we've been talking to Jake Nichols, our correspondent from SI. He'll be covering the Unicoi County Blue Devils as they visit Northview Academy over in Sevier County tomorrow night. Jake, I wish you all the luck. Wish me all the luck for the zone, because this is something new. We will be talking to you tomorrow night, you and Brandon, at halftime of your game. Plus, we'll have Nathan Miranda. He'll be cutting in periodically from your game, giving us the zone coverage. Mm-hmm. So I really believe that this is going to be a great football season. As our motto says, we are your high school sports, the source for football in the Southeast. We'll see you tomorrow night, Jake.